Saluti a tutti, and welcome to this episode of Ciao DMV, Italian-American Life in the DMV. My name is Joseph Barone, and I will be your host. This podcast channel is dedicated to all things Italian and Italian-American in the DMV, aka DC, Maryland, and Virginia. My focus is on the Italian-American experience, from family stories to little-known history to businesses to cultural events, etc. Today, I am pleased to present to you the second part of my interview with Tom Stallone, veteran and business development leader. In the first part, we talked about growing up in Ohio, Pennsylvania, his military service, and life in the business world. In this episode, we will focus on his membership over the years with the Lido Civic Club. So sit back and enjoy. So, in this segment, I'd like to talk about you and the Lido Civic Club of Washington, D.C. And as some of our listeners know, the Lido Civic Club of Washington, D.C. was established in 1929 as a business club, a club where Italians and Italian Americans could work with each other, kind of generate business deals, etc. But eventually it's become much more. It's been an organization that has also helped out members of the community with our scholarship and with our donation. So, Tom, according to the Lido records, you joined in 2004, over 20 years ago. How did you learn of the organization?
Well, my father-in-law and my brother-in-law were both members and both past presidents of the club. Joseph J. Urciola Sr. and then John Urciola were both presidents. And as their involvement, I would go and attend the dinners and stuff. And after a few years, I just went ahead and joined the organization after attending events with them.
And was membership different at that time? You know, today you have to go to 3 meetings, get an interview sort of process, etc. Was it the same back then or was it different?
I would say it was easier to join, but we didn't have a formalized process. And I'm glad we've got a more formalized process because we want to keep it Italian-American descendant on the father's side. We want to keep that. That's something about the organization. If you look down the list of names of the club, you're not going to see any O'Donnells or O'Driscolls, or you're going to see all Italian names. And that's part of the genuineness of the club and something that sets it apart from other organizations, that all the names of the members are Italian, descendant from the father's side.
Okay. And over those years, the last 20 plus years, what positions have you held with the organization?
Well, everything from bottle washer to president. And I'm proud to say I still serve on the executive board. The club needs the energy of the people that are members, and being able to participate in that club and work closer with many members, great people such as Lori Clavelli and other folks, that I get a lot of satisfaction from that organization.
Thinking back, so you've held a position of president. Did you ever run the PPN night?
Yeah, met several PPN nights, and recently Vito Germanario has taken over running those and done a great job. But those are 2 or 3 months worth of work to pull those off.
Right. Thinking back as your time as president, and do you remember the general years you were president?
God, I'll say 95 and 96, somewhere back there. There were 2 years.
Well, it couldn't be that if you...
No, it would have been, I'd have to look it up.
That's okay. That's okay. But thinking back to your time as president, you know, what was something that impressed you about when you became president about the members? Because I know you become a president and there are lots of people pulling at your strings and everybody wants your ear, etc. But what's a fond memory of that time?
Well, I can give you a general memory just across the board, and that is the following. When you ask people to help, they've joined the club, they want to do things, they want to get involved. Mm-hmm. And I was very satisfied at the number of people when asked who would jump in and do things to help out. You know, probably my two two favorite experiences with the club are the scholarships that we give, which is now we give a couple of $100,000 of scholarships every year.
Yeah. This year, I think this year for 2026, it's $135,000 in scholarship, which is for a small organization like Lido, under 200 members, that's a huge amount of money.
It's a large amount of money. And we've had some money that was donated to the club by some older members that got it started, but we keep it going and we've grown it. The other thing is I'm very interested in the veterans charities. We still to this day help support once a month. There's a dinner for veterans for the hospital here, Walter Reed, Bethesda, Quantico. Once a month, we still participate in a dinner where we put on a dinner for the veterans and their families that are here at the hospital.
And I know I've participated in one or two with you, and it's always great to talk to the veterans. It's amazing, their stories. It's heartbreaking at times. And, my son currently serves as a captain in the U.S. Army. But it's heartbreaking to see especially some of the younger vets who have a variety of issues, some physical, some mental, some a combination. But I know coming to the dinners, they come out happy and they are really appreciative of that.
Well, and I'll back that up with another comment too. We have a member who joined. And in fact, I was proud to be one of the guys that helped sponsor him, Don Lauren, who's a retired 2-star admiral. So if people are having real difficult problems, he can dig in behind the scenes and give a gentle nudge here and there, reach out to help them out. We have people who come here, for instance, their families give up work and to come here. So we've helped find jobs for some of them. We've helped get employment. We've helped them with different needs they have, everything from moving expenses to maybe a trip to go home to see their family, etc. So I'm very proud of that. It's one of the proudest things I'm involved with is tying that, the Italian embassy, and what we do with veterans together, the whole kind of package, if you will.
And I think that's one of the things that people don't know about Lido and that we don't get the word out about that. I know sometimes you want to keep some of these things quiet, but still I think it's important that people know the things that we do. And for my listeners, just to let you know, I am a Lido member. Tom was my sponsor, although might have been a reluctant sponsor at first because I'm just some guy who showed up out of nowhere saying, I want to be a member. And hopefully, Tom, that I've met expectations as a member in doing things and helping the club out.
Oh, you've done more than that, Joe, and the efforts that you're doing, even with Child DMV, it helps perpetuate the Italian ties.
Now, I want you to think back over your time with Lido, and I want you to think back of how things have changed from when you joined to today. So one of the things you alluded to was a membership process, that there really wasn't a process back then. But what are some other changes that you can think about that have occurred over those last 20 plus years?
Well, one of the things is the size, the sheer size of the club. We have I think the limit now is 200 members, and we're almost there. We have 190 active members. Sal Puglisi just had his 95th birthday, and there were like 8 or 10 guys that made the trip down there just to wish him a happy birthday. Or when we do an event, you'll see 30 or 40 people show up in the room for dinner. And I like to never sit at the same table for 2 meetings. I like to move around and talk to different people to hear different aspects, and especially some of the older guys. Well, I guess I'm one now, but to hear the stories of the club and some of the things we've done.
That's great. Now, where do you see Lido going? Where do you think about now the future? Even though you may be considered quote unquote an old timer now. I don't consider you an old timer, but where do you see the club going in the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, I think the important paths for me, both personally and the club wise, is the continued focus on the scholarships. because people have money to go to school, but they can't afford it. The cost it is, people are having trouble afford to pay the full tuition. So we're helping a lot of good people.
Mm-hmm.
The second is expanding our veterans charities and things we're doing for veterans. There's a lot of enthusiasm for that. There's a lot of veterans in the club, but to keep doing that, because these people come here, like I said, they may not have been home for a year or two because they've been involved in the hospital and stuff. For us to give them a night out, smoke a cigar, have a nice dinner means a lot to them. The smile on their faces and the relaxed of their wives and their families, they show that positive influence.
Is there anything else you'd like to any sort of other memory you want to share about Lido before we wrap up this particular episode in dealing with Lido, or some other thing you'd like to see Lido do down the road, or anything of its nature?
Well, yeah, I can. One thing that I have a strong personal feeling is Lido members need to continue to support each other as well. When a member passes, and this happens not infrequently because of the older members, the membership shows up and usually tries to attend the funeral or at least be supportive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important for no other reason than these people who most of the family has no idea who they even are, but they've had a relationship with this guy, broken bread with him, spent time with him. The fact that the uniqueness of having that close bonds based on, friendship, fellowship, and food, I think that's a good way to continue to do that. So I think that's important.
Great. Well, Tom, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you. Thank you for doing both parts of this interview, both on your business and work and personal life, and on Lido. So thanks, Tom. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much.
I hope that you have enjoyed part 2 with Tom Stallone. If you're interested in being on this podcast, please feel free to contact me at ciaodmv@gmail.com. That's ciaodmv@gmail.com. And please remember, if you enjoyed listening to this episode, please take a moment to like, comment, subscribe, and or share with a friend. This is Joseph Barone, your host, signing out. Ciao for now.